Edward James Begley Jr., born September 16, 1949, is an American actor and environmental activist. Begley has appeared in hundreds of films, television shows, and stage performances. He played Dr. Victor Ehrlich on the television series St. Elsewhere, 1982 to 1988. The role earned him 6 consecutive Primetime Emmy Award nominations and a Golden Globe Award nomination. He also co-hosted, along with wife Rochelle Carson, the Green Living reality show entitled Living with Ed, 2007 to 2010. Equally prolific in cinema, Begley's films include Stay Hungry, 1976, Blue Collar, 1978, An Officer and a Gentleman, 1982, This Is Spinal Tap, 1984, The Accidental Tourist, 1988, She Devil, 1989, The Pagemaster, 1994, Batman Forever, 1995, Pineapple Express, 2008, Whatever Works, 2009, What's Your Number, 2011, Ghostbusters, 2016, and Chips, 2017. He is a recurring cast member in the mockumentaries of Christopher Guest and Eugene Levy, including Best in Show, 2000, A Mighty Wind, 2003, For Your Consideration, 2006, and Mascots, 2016. In 2020 he was cast along his wife Rochelle in the award-winning mockumentary Reboot Camp. Early life Begley was born in 1949 in Los Angeles, California, to Aline Jean Sanders and Oscar-winning film actor Ed Begley. When Begley Jr. was born, Begley Sr. was married to Amanda Huff, who died when Begley Jr. was 7 years old. Until he was 16, Begley Jr. believed that Huff was his biological mother. He only later became acquainted with Sanders, his biological mother. Begley's paternal grandparents were Irish immigrants. He grew up in Buffalo, New York, and attended Stella Niagara Education Park, a private Catholic school in Lewiston, New York. When he was 13, the family moved back to California, where he graduated from Notre Dame High School, Sherman Oaks, a Catholic high school, and from Los Angeles Valley College in North Hollywood. Acting career Begley's numerous roles in television and film include one of his earliest appearances as a guest actor on Maude. He had guest appearances in the 1970s series Room 222. He had recurring roles on Mary Hartman, Seventh Heaven, Arrested Development, Mego and 6 Feet Under, and starring roles in Stephen King's Kingdom Hospital, St. Elsewhere, and Wednesday 9:30, 8:30 Central. He was in one episode of My Three Sons, playing a tall classmate of Chip's. He has played significant roles in the mockumentary films Best in Show, A Mighty Wind, and For Your Consideration. Additionally, Begley played Viper pilot Greenbean on the original Battlestar Galactica TV series, Boba Fett in the radio adaptation of Return of the Jedi, and Seth Gillette, a fictional Democratic U.S. Senator from North Dakota on the West Wing. From 2000 to 2016, he was a member of the Board of Governors of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. In 1996, Begley appeared in a TV movie called The Late Shift, where he played real-life CBS executive Rod Perth. He has guest-starred on shows such as Scrubs, Boston Legal, and Star Trek, Voyager. He had a recurring guest role in Season 3 of Veronica Mars. He appeared in the 2008 HBO film Recount, which profiled the 2000 presidential election and its aftermath, which was decided by Florida's electoral votes after the United States Supreme Court halted the counting of the state's popular vote. Begley also made an appearance on Tim and Eric Awesome Show, Great Job. Season 3, Episode 3, as a spokesman for Cinco. In 2003, Begley wrote and directed the musical Cesar and Ruben. It was performed at the El Portal Theater in Los Angeles and was revived in 2007. One of Begley's recent acting roles was in the CBS sitcom Gary Unmarried. Begley played Dr. Walter Crandall, the protagonist's former marriage counselor and fiancé of his ex-wife. Since 2008, he has appeared in a series of DirecTV commercials as a Cable Corp Inc. executive. In 2013, he appeared on the reality television show Beverly Hills Pond. Beginning in 2019, he appeared in Bless This Mess for duration of the 2 seasons that the show ran. Personal life Begley has 3 children, a daughter and son from his first marriage, and a daughter from his current marriage. According to a feature on the Bio Channel television program Celebrity Close Calls, Begley nearly died in 1972 after being stabbed multiple times while being mugged by a street gang. His attackers were teenagers who were later apprehended by the police. Activism environmental. Since 1970, Begley has been an environmentalist, beginning with his first electric vehicle, a Taylor Dunn, golf cart-like vehicle, recycling, and becoming a vegan. He He promotes eco-friendly products like the Toyota Prius, Envirolet composting toilets and Begley's Best Household Cleaner. Begley's home is 1,585 square feet, 147.3 square meters, in size, using solar power, wind power via a Packwind vertical axis wind turbine, an air conditioning unit made by Greenway Design Group, LLC, and an electricity generating cycle used to toast bread. In 2008 he stated that he was paying around $300 a year in electric bills, noting that the suburban lawn is environmentally unsustainable, especially in Southern California, owing to water shortage. Begley has converted his own to a drought-tolerant garden composed of native California plants. He is noted for riding bicycles and using public transportation, and owns a 2003 Toyota RAV4 EV electric-powered vehicle. Begley's hybrid electric bicycle was often featured on his television show Living with Ed. Begley also spoofed his own environmentalist beliefs on Homer to the Max, an episode of The Simpsons, by showing himself using a non-polluting go-kart that is powered by his own sense of self-satisfaction, and on an episode of Dharma and Greg. Later, he appeared in Gone Maggie Gone, another episode of The Simpsons, in season 20. In the episode, during a solar eclipse, he drives a solar-powered car that stops running on train tracks as a train approaches, but the train also stops because it is an Ed Begley Jr. solar-powered train. According to another of Groening's animated comedy series, Futurama, Begley's electric motor is the most evil propulsion system ever conceived, as stated in The Honking, 19 Minutes In. Begley and friend Bill Nye are in a competition to see who can have the lowest carbon footprint. In 2009, Begley appeared in the Earth Day edition of The Price is Right. He announced the final showcase, which included an electric bicycle, a solar-powered golf cart and a Toyota Prius. Begley was featured during the Jay Leno Show's Green Car Challenge. Various celebrities drove an electric Ford Focus automobile and tried to set records on an outdoor track. During the second lap, cutouts of Begley and Al Gore would pop out, and if the celebrity had hit either of them, 1 second was added to his or her time. Begley is the author of Living Like Ed, A Guide to the Eco-Friendly Life, 2008, and Ed Begley Jr.'s Guide to Sustainable Living, Learning to Conserve Resources and Manage an Eco-Conscious Life, 2009, both published by Random House. He also wrote a Vegan Survival Guide for the Holidays, 2014, with Jerry James Stone. Affiliations Coalition for Clean Air, Environmental Media Association, Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy, the American Oceans Campaign, League of Conservation Voters, Environmental Research Foundation, Walden Woods Project, Thoreau Institute, Earth Communications Office, Solar Living Institute, Tree People, Friends of the Earth, Sequoia Forest Keeper, Green Wish, Orang-Utan Republique. From 2007 to 2010, Begley and his wife Rochelle Carson starred in their own reality television series, Living with Ed, on HGTV and Discovery's Planet Green channel. In 2013 he, his wife and daughter Hayden filmed On Begley Street, a web series chronicling the deconstruction of his current home and the building of North America's greenest, most sustainable home. He received the Thomas Alva Edison Award for Energy Independence from the American Jewish Congress, the first one to be presented. Begley has been a leader in this field and was recognized in November 2007 for his lifelong work in environmentalism. Political Begley was also on the advisory committee for the group 2004 Racism Watch, founded by fellow actor Ed Asner. The group was formed to respond to the advertisement campaign of the George W. Bush-Dick Cheney presidential campaign that they claimed was encouraging racism. The advertisement in question, 100 Days, made a reference to terrorism and terrorists while highlighting a photograph of an anonymous man of Middle Eastern descent. Friendships with other actors. William Daniels. When Begley was a child, his future Saint Elsewhere series lead, William Daniels, met Begley's father when the two were working on live television. By the time Begley Jr. grew up, he was already a fan of his mentor's work. He would work with Daniels on Saint Elsewhere, where the two had on and off-screen chemistry for 6 seasons. Daniels, himself, on the show, was a moody Irishman like Ed Sr., though a far more nurturing father figure. This proved so rich that the role grew beyond even the writer's expectations. Begley Jr. said about his future TV chief of surgery, "I was a huge fan of Bill Daniels. I had seen him in Two for the Road. I had seen him in The Graduate, and in Parallax View. He was an actor I just thought the world of. He played these type A personalities quite effectively, but in real life, he is the sweetest guy in the world." He also added, "He is an actor I just thought the world of. I had no delusions about how my character came to be. I rode on the coattails of Bill Daniels. The kind of Mutt and Jeff routine of Dr. Craig looking up and berating a 6'4" Dr. Victor Early. So I owe all my success on the show to Bill Daniels." After the series was cancelled, the two still remained friends, living not too far away from each other. In 2002, Daniels, Begley Jr., along with the rest of the former surviving Saint Elsewhere cast members, the late Stephen Furst and Eric Lonneville all appeared on an episode of Scrubs. Norman Lloyd before Street Elsewhere in the early 1980s, the struggling and unknown Begley met Norman Lloyd, who became a mentor to him while Lloyd was directing an episode of Tales of the Unexpected. The two became friends. In a 2014 interview with Jimmy Falcon of Cloverleaf Radio, he said this about Lloyd: "Not only did I enjoy working with him, but I see him fairly regularly. I just had dinner with him 4 nights ago. We had dinner together at Sarah Nichols's house, his neighbor of mine and friend of his. We had a lovely time and reminisced. He's unbelievable. He's going to be 100 years old this year, and still very active, getting around on his own. He's a force of nature, so Norman Lloyd was somebody I idolize. When I was quite young, wow, James Dean is great and this is one and that. Now look at Janis Joplin, what a great voice, and Jim Morrison. Those people left us so young, like my point of view has changed somewhere, in the late 1970s and early 1980s, saying, no, you idolized Jimmy Stewart, Gloria Swanson. The people that have families and happiness and a long, economy life. You know, Norman Lloyd, he wasn't much older than me, when I did Saint Elsewhere, and I went, these are my role models. Now, people had a long, happy life and continued to be creative. Those are my role models, not the people that left us so early, and I'm sorry they did. I don't mean to trifle with that, but my role models changed from the people who had an incredible, brief spurt of creativity in life, but to people that went the distance. They became my role models at some point in my early 30s really." On November 9, 2014, along with former Saint Elsewhere co-stars, Begley attended Lloyd's 100th birthday in Los Angeles. Begley said, "I worked with Norman Lloyd the actor, and Norman Lloyd the director, and no one informed me better on the art of storytelling than that talented man. He is a constant inspiration and my eternal friend." Filmography Film Television references external links. Official website Ed Begley Jr. at IMDb. Ed Begley Jr. at Allmovie. The Treehugger interview, Ed Begley Jr. Interview from Log Home Design Magazine, Ed Begley Jr. Good Morning America covers Guide to Sustainable Living by Ed Begley Jr.